Welcome to the 707, a weekly half-hour program produced by KRCB, a service of NorCal Public Media. The 707 features voices and stories from your community, stories that inspire, stories that give voice to those who cannot speak, and stories that show how we are connected to each other. I've only had a few pets in my life. There was a goldfish named Miles Davis, a bunny named Phineas, and I collectively cared for a neighborhood cat I called No Kitty because she was always trying to get into my house. I'm Michelle Marquis, and today we are visiting people who have lots of pets in their lives, both at home and at the place where they work, the Humane Society of Sonoma County.
It's hard to do an interview with the cat.
You've probably driven by it 100 times. Just off of Highway 12 between Santa Rosa and Sebastopol, there's a giant statue of a dog by Sebastopol junk artist Patrick Amio. The driveway loops around to a field where dogs are trained, and next door is the Humane Society building that houses a vet clinic, adoption offices, and lots of caring people.
Have you been to the shelter before?
I haven't. This is my first time.
Oh, yay!
Yeah,
My favorite tour.
That's Priscilla Locke, Director of Development and Communications. The day before my visit, I emailed her with a list of some of the sounds I thought I'd be able to capture. At the top of the list were dogs barking and cats meowing, but I was surprised by how quiet it was. And that is by design. As soon as you walk into the lobby, you'll see a big billboard. It says Shelter Etiquette and lists things that you should keep in mind. Speak softly, move slowly, give animals space, and don't stare. This sign sets the tone immediately for shelter visitors.
The fundamentals are let the animal come to you. We learn very quickly where it's really good manners to stick your hand out, make eye contact, smile, and say, hey, how are you to a person? That is the last thing you want to do with an animal, right? Keep your hands to yourself. You don't make eye contact, you stand still, and if they want to walk right by you, that's fine. You let them come to you and show you that they're interested in interacting with you, and once they do, we call it the 3-second rule. You interact for 3 seconds and then stop, and if they say, hey, come here, I want more, then you go for more, and once they give you permission, then you can interact and belly rub and do everything you want, but you let them guide you on it.
Interim Executive Director Neville Hormuz agrees.
Most animals are really into being played with and met, but they're in a strange environment and you're not certain, so it's good to kind of just let them come to you for sure.
I mentioned there are a lot of unfamiliar smells as well.
A lot of animals here, a lot of female.
Yes, female.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
It's a dad joke. It's a total dad joke.
Priscilla leads us into the center of the facility and the main adoption gallery.
This is the part of the shelter the public usually sees, and this is also what the public typically thinks of when they think of the Humane Society of Sonoma County. They think of us as an adoption center, which makes perfect sense. But there's a whole lot more to us. There's a lot the animal goes through before they reach this part of the shelter and are ready to go home with somebody, and so that's the part we like to show on our tours.
There are enclosures on either side walled with glass so that you can see the animals waiting for adoption. Then she leads us into the back side of the shelter, an area called shelter medicine.
This is where all of the majority of our animals come into the shelter, and it's where they receive their first assessments and treatments. So
we stop in the hallway and look towards a door that leads to the back of the shelter.
I like to start the tour, or this back end of the tour here, at what I call the magic door. That's where the majority of our animals enter the shelter. That is where our transfer vans pull up. I call it the magic door because the minute they come through that door, they're saved.
There's a bright shaft of sunshine coming through the door, and I feel my heart melt a little.
We've got to start from the second they come in assessing their physical well-being and their mental, sort of emotional well-being. We need to assess what level of trauma they may have experienced, what kind of anxiety, and then try over time to figure out what's the core nature of that animal. How can we make the most of that? And how do we match that animal with an adopter, right? Kitty cats go into the cages down this hallway here. We also have isolation areas. So if animals come in, one of the things we're looking for are contagious diseases. We want to keep those animals together and keep them away from everybody else. So we have isolation areas that they can go into where we can treat that.
Priscilla says the Humane Society of Sonoma County provides medical services that other shelters do not.
We are able to take in animals with that kind of illness, with injury, where other shelters, if they couldn't find a place to send their animals, they'd have to euthanize them. So we take in animals that we can heal and repair and adopt out. We feel like we're not just serving our community, we're serving our fellow shelters by giving them a place to send those animals.
Do shelters that don't have the ability to take care of medical needs like this, do they call you to see if you have room?
All day long, every day. Yeah, every day we're getting pretty desperate emails actually from a lot of shelters around the state where Central Valley, Riverside County, LA County, far northern counties, where they're just very few resources for animals. There's less access to spay-neuters, so a lot more population boom in those areas. They are desperate for help all the time, and so we work with them all the time. Our surrounding shelters do the same. Everybody's trying to take in what they can. What sets us apart are our medical capabilities and being able to take in those animals that are tougher for other people to care for. Yeah. So come see our medical suite.
After checking to see if we can enter, Priscilla opens the door to the medical suite where veterinarians and vet techs are working on a variety of cats and dogs.
So this is our surgical suite. We've got our veterinarians in action in the far room there. That's our actual surgery. And then these treatment tables, there are all procedures taking place on these. And then recovery is happening over on the countertop there. If we had large dogs recovering right now, they'd be on the floor on warming blankets and bedding on the floor. Our highest number of procedures would be spay neuter for cats and dogs, and dentals. Those are the highest in demand. But we have animals that come in with everything from skin irritation to mass removal needs, broken limbs, that kind of thing. Yeah, we're doing all kinds of stuff, full range of things. Did open heart surgery on a kitten once, so long time ago. I did not personally, but someone did, yeah.
The animals being worked on are sedated, and I'm kind of in shock seeing them there not moving. Of course, they're being taken care of and treated, but they look so vulnerable that it catches my breath. It's a crazy amount of emotions that I'm feeling all at once. The animals aren't moving, so my brain says, oh no, they're dead. But they aren't, of course. And then I think about the tenderness, skill, and love that the veterinarians and techs are using to treat and heal these animals. And I kind of feel like crying. A wave of awe washes over me, thinking about mortality and how fragile we all are. With their permission, I take a photo, and you can hear me trying to keep it together.
I have never seen anything like this. This is amazing.
This is what makes us who we are.
That's amazing. Okay, thank you very much.
Wonderful. Yeah, definitely. So
this seems like a really big team. How many people do you have here who work in this section?
Yeah.
As I ask that question, a woman walks by who can answer it. Melina Stambolis is the Veterinary Operations Supervisor.
I oversee the veterinary department, so that is our shelter medicine department, our community clinic department, which provides low-cost surgery and medical care for low-income members of our community, and then our high-volume spay-neuter clinic, where we do about 30 spay-neuter surgeries a day. We have about 12 people in our department. So that includes our 2 full-time veterinarians, our vet assistants, registered vet techs, and our front desk staff. I have been working here since 2019 when we opened our community veterinary clinic. I signed on to help start that.
What does it feel like to be able to take care of these many animals each day?
It's awesome. We have a really good team, so we focus on efficiency so we can get this many animals through surgery safely and efficiently in a day. I'm really proud of what we do here. There's not a lot of low-cost options for veterinary care right now. It's a problem all over the country. It feels really good to be able to provide that for people in the community that need help for their animals.
Is it only cats and dogs that you take care of here?
For the most part, we do mostly cats and dogs, but we'll see the occasional hobby farm animal, a chicken or a duck here and there. Yeah, we neutered a goat one time, so we'll see reptiles very occasionally, but mostly it's cats and dogs.
As we leave the medical suite, they can see I am overwhelmed.
It's amazing, right?
That's
It's
amazing.
like a little factory of people doing good.
isn't that something? It's very moving. It's okay. I know it. We've all been here for a while, and it still gets us. Yeah.
Priscilla shows us an outdoor enclosure with some dog toys.
We have a whole team that covers behavior and training, specifically working with our dogs, and especially the larger adolescent dogs. They have lots of energy. There's lots going on in their brains if they've been through traumatic experience. It can be a lot of work to get them to a place where they're ready for adoption, and maybe that means they're actually settled down and kind of come to sort of a calmer place, or maybe it's identifying what they need so you can wait for that right adopter to come along that's going to meet their needs. Really, when animals come in here, and one of the things I love about this place so much is that we don't really expect an animal to change for us. It's up to us to get to their level and understand where they are and what they need. And I wish we treated humans like that. Anyway, so to keep their brains happy, keep their brains busy, enrichment is really critical. So being outdoors, obviously for a large animal like a dog, even the small animals, is really important. Lots of stuff to sniff, to see, to play around with, to run, to move. We have 5 outdoor enclosures on campus for the dogs and some cats to run around in. We also have volunteers. We have a huge team of volunteers, many of them dog walkers, who will take the dogs out on hikes. They take them on what we call out and abouts, where the groups of dogs will go out together with a group of volunteers. They'll take them on a run. They'll take them to Starbucks for a pup cup. You never know. But trying to do as much enrichment as possible, and also getting them out to foster, like even if it's just for a weekend, even for an overnighter, to give them a break, just a mental break, a smell break, a sound break. It's a smelly, noisy place. So to give an animal a break, even for a night, can really help them a lot.
We'll take a quick break and be right back. This is the 707 on KRCB.
KRCB is Sonoma County's NPR station, featuring the voices, sounds, and culture that make our home unique. From the heartwarming tales of postcards,
our grandmother was the founder of Juneteenth in Sonoma County,
to the Arts Brief series shining a spotlight on the incredible youth in the arts scene.
My gosh, you can express everything that you feel.
And farm tales.
We live in this beautiful area that allows all forms of success in agriculture.
Your stories, your station. KRCB 104.9, Sonoma County's NPR station.
I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News with a little something to kickstart your mornings. Sonoma First News is a weekday morning podcast with the top local stories and weather updates from across Sonoma County. From Petaluma to Bodega Bay, Sonoma First News has you covered. Subscribe now through KRCB's website, on the NorCal mobile app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Sonoma First News from Sonoma County's NPR station, KRCB FM.
Welcome back to the 707. We're on a tour of the Humane Society of Sonoma County. Priscilla Locke, Director of Development and Communications, says they have a strong core of volunteers.
We have a full roster of about 400 volunteers and an active group of anywhere from 100 to 200 volunteers, depending on the season, what's going on. But a lot of those are foster volunteers who will take animals into their home, or volunteers in the shelter that work with the animals, either the cats or the dogs. And then we have volunteers that do pretty much anything else we need them to do. And without them, we couldn't be here.
We head back to an area where animals are ready to be adopted and walk past rooms where there are dogs of various sizes and breeds. Most are quiet, except for Chai, a beautiful gray and white Siberian husky who puts his paws up on the window of his enclosure to have a conversation.
That's right.
Hi. Hi, baby.
What a good boy.
What do you need, baby? He's a microphone. That's all I need is a microphone.
That's what I needed.
Tell you
We're waiting for a
everything.
mic.
Yeah.
He's 11 years old. I did not
Yeah,
realize
yeah.
he was such a senior
He's
pup.
so mellow.
I noticed there are some fun names on each of the enclosures.
Macaroni, Fabio. Oh my goodness, these are great names.
Yes, naming the animals can be a lot of fun.
So do you come up with names?
Everybody in the shelter contributes. We've got a huge Word document on our shared website that lists, every sitcom you've ever seen in your life, all the characters are on there. Vegetables, spices, herbs, plants.
Kathy Pescar is the Youth Services Coordinator at the Humane Society of Sonoma County.
So my campers come up with kitten names during the summer, come up with these huge lists of the funniest names, and they'll use them for all of our kittens that come through.
Animals who are surrendered to the shelter will keep their names they were given by their previous owners. We come to a photo board with shots of children at the shelter, and Kathy tells us about their award-winning youth program offerings.
The most popular program that we have is our summer and winter camps. So summer we do 8 sessions of camp, and then winter we do 2 different sessions. Kids from ages 7 to 12, about 125 of them come, and we teach them all about animal careers and animal welfare, and we're just always amazed at all the empathy that they have, because they come and they may not know that much about what we do here, but what they do know is the love that they feel for our animals. We do some internships, scout projects. I go and I visit schools and educate them on what we do. We have after-school classes. Right now we're doing a veterinary medicine class, which is amazing. With a lot of our staff that you just saw, they come in and they present. We have community service opportunities. We do tours and then field trips. So schools come and visit us.
So the summer and winter camps, how do kids find out about what you're doing?
So registration opens up in mid-March, and they sell out in about 10 minutes.
No, seriously?
Yes.
We call them the Taylor Swift of summer camps.
And it seems to be word of mouth. I mean, I'm always nervous that it's not going to sell out, so we do put some stuff on the website, but it sells out immediately. It's won Best Day Camp 2 years. It won for the Press Democrat, and then Bohemian, it just won. So it's mainly because of our wonderful staff, and again, because kids love animals, and they love to feel the kindness, and they love to feel the empathy. One of our big rules that I say when we come in is we treat everything here with respect. And even if there's an ant, we save it, and the kids love that.
Is there hands-on with animals?
There is a lot of hands-on with animals. So every day they get to hang out with 2 to 3 dogs, sometimes more, depending on who we have in the shelter, like Chai, would come and talk. We also go and we visit cats in their habitats, which is amazing because it's great for the cats, right? We socialize the cats, and the cats get used to kids. And it's also great for the kids because they also learn boundaries and how here we always are about animals approaching us versus us approaching the animals, so that's wonderful. We also go and visit a horse farm, which is on our campus, and they get reptiles and everything. Yeah, so lots of hands-on.
Priscilla shows us the round adoption desk where people are greeted when they enter the Humane Society.
I refer to our adoptions counselors as a cross between like Match.com matchmakers and psychotherapists. They are some of the most empathetic, patient, thoughtful people I've ever known, and they are some of the best listeners I've ever known. Because, when you're talking with people, whether they're bringing in an animal that they need to surrender or they're looking for an animal to bring home, it's very emotional. So you're seeing people sometimes not at their best because they're feeling really peak emotions. And these guys are amazing at working with them. They're so gentle and so understanding. Firm, if someone wants to take home a giant active dog and they have a studio apartment and they're gone 10 hours a day, they're going to make sure they come home with something a little more appropriate. But they do it with love, and it's just huge. I have massive respect for these guys.
Once a pet has found its new home, the Humane Society continues to offer support.
The final thing I wanted to show you is what we call our safety net services. And really, once an animal's adopted, we don't stop there. We want to see an animal that is loved, that's giving love, stay with its family, stay with its person. And sometimes that can be hard. Owning an animal is expensive. Food's expensive, vet care is expensive. If your housing is unstable, if you have to move to housing that maybe doesn't accept pets, we want to do all we can to help kind of smooth that road a little bit, partly so the animal stays in a protected, safe place with the people who love it, but also so that the human can focus on their own well-being and not have to worry about their animal. So, fun of me. So our community action team maintains a pet food pantry, pet food and supply for free. We give out free pet food and supplies out of our 2 shelters here and in Healdsburg. And then they also do a ton of outreach into the community. They have partnerships with 23 human service organizations throughout the county, and a regular schedule of those organizations' events where they're serving their clients, and we're there to help the clients who have pets and give them what they need too.
They also offer sliding scale pricing for veterinary care and spay-neuter services at their community clinic on site. Neville says he is working with other rescue operations to expand services across the network.
One of the strengths I had coming in was knowing a lot of local animal nonprofits. So we brought them together, and the lowest hanging fruit was spay and neuter. So we're working on ways to try to add more days of doing 20 to 30 spay neuters a day. And we're also going to add it to Healdsburg.
So tell me about how Healdsburg compares in terms of size to this facility here.
Healdsburg is smaller. It's definitely smaller. It's newer. It's nicer in some ways. but it's a little bit more cat oriented. But we are making some changes because that community wants to see some dogs. So we're going to work on building out some dog habitats. There's training that's done there. And we're also going to create a spay and neuter facility in that location as well. So we got a lot of plans for Healdsburg.
I have to ask Priscilla, Kathy, and Neville about their pets.
I have 2 cats with very bad attitudes, named Stanley and Francine. And I have a dog named Harvey, who's in my office right now if you want to meet him. He's adorable. He's perfect.
Well, I definitely want to meet Harvey. How many pets do you have?
I have 2 pets, a dog and a cat, and my dog is pretty reactive. Otherwise, I would bring them all home. But working here, I'm able to office foster. They can come hang out in my office for afternoons. It's great.
All right. How many pets?
I've got 3 pets. I've got 2 cats, Cole and Lily, and I've got a dog named Shadow. They were all rescues.
Yay,
Yeah.
good. Does anybody work here that doesn't have a pet?
If they don't, it's temporary. Yeah.
They will soon.
Since I've
I ended my visit by meeting Priscilla's dog, Harvey, who was very friendly but pretty quiet. Seeing as I didn't get the kind of animal sounds I was hoping to capture with my mic, let's end the show with the sound of a contented cat purr. Funding for the Humane Society mainly comes from private donors and grants. About 1,800 animals are adopted each year. Learn more at humanesocietysoco.org. I'm your host and producer of this program, Michelle Marquis. Thanks for listening. Email topic and guest suggestions to the 707 at krcb.org. This show is a service of NorCal Public Media. Our president and CEO is Darren Lachelle. Who's a good kitty?